Hello, welcome to KHL. This is episode number 1 of the worst trades in the NHL. This episode will feature Jean-Sebastien Giguere and the trade that took him to Anaheim. So what's the criteria for a bad trade? It's completely one-sided. One team gets a lot, the other team gets next to nothing, or in some cases nothing at all. There is such a clear winner. You really have to question how a GM let it happen. In other words, it is a complete fleecing. So the trade takes place between the, at the time, Anaheim Mighty Ducks and the Calgary Flames. It took place on June the 9th, 2000, which saw Anaheim receive J.S Giguere and Calgary receive a 2000 second round pick, which was 43rd overall. At the time, it didn't seem perhaps like too bad of a deal. J.S Giguere had played 30 games in the 5 years since he'd been drafted. 8 of those were with Hartford in 96-97. Played 15 games for Calgary in 98-99 and 7 in 99-2000. So he very much was a third string goalie at the time. As we've come to know since, he became a lot more than that. Anyway, we will focus on the trade tree itself, then we'll go on to what team got what out of it. So starting with Calgary on the right, they do not select the 43rd overall pick, they actually trade it. So they trade it to Washington on June 24th, 2000, and they receive Mika Elomo and a 2000 fourth round pick, which was 116th overall. With that pick, they selected Levente Super, great name. And, well, that is it for Calgary. If you were wondering who the 43rd overall pick in 2000 ended up being, it was Matt Pettinger, who stuck around with Washington for quite a bit. I think he played over 400 NHL games, so Washington got something out of it. So now we'll move over to Anaheim side of it. J.S Giguere obviously played for the Ducks for best part of a decade. He won a Stanley Cup, he won a Conn Smythe. You know, if we left it there and then you can. It's already a fleecing. However, in 2010, he was dealt to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and on January 31st, 2010, J.S Giguere was traded to Toronto for Vesa Toskala and Jason Blake. Starting with Jason Blake, he played with Anaheim for the best part of 2.5 seasons, and then I'm not sure if he retired at the time, but he certainly didn't play any more NHL games after that point. So that side of that part of the tree is done. Vesa Toskala, you might have, if you're thinking back that far, I don't remember him playing for Anaheim. It's because he never did. He was traded on March 3rd, 2010 to Calgary. So Calgary are back again for Curtis McElhaney. He stuck around for about a year. So February 24th, 2011, he was then traded to Tampa Bay in exchange for Dan Ellis. So lots of goaltenders were traded, certainly on the Anaheim side of it. Dan Ellis stuck around for a season or two with Anaheim, and I believe he then became a UFA and was picked up. He certainly was never traded away from Anaheim, so the trade tree itself is done. So looking at the tree, you probably can tell Anaheim got a lot more out of it than Calgary, but just how much more? So Anaheim received J.S Giguere, as we already know. They got 499 games out of him, 447 in the regular season, 52 in the playoffs. He had a regular season record of 206 wins, 163 losses, and 55 OT losses, with a 914 save percentage and a 2.47 goals against. In the playoffs, he had a 33-17 record with a 925 save percentage and a 208 goals against. He was a 2003 Conn Smythe winner, despite the Ducks losing that series to the New Jersey Devils. I believe he was the last person to do that. Win the Conn. Let me know if I'm wrong. I think he was the last person to win a Conn Smythe on the losing side. And of course, he was part of the 2007 Stanley Cup winning team. So Really good career. Again, if we left it there, the Ducks have absolutely fleeced the Flames. But they also got Jason Blake after J.S Giguere as part of that trade that saw him be sent to Toronto. Jason Blake played 153 games in the NHL for Anaheim. 29 goals, 50 assists for 59 points. So he was on the back end of his career. And also played 6 playoff games where he got 3 goals, 1 assist for 4 points. To be honest with you, even that is better than what Calgary gets, as you'll see shortly. Curtis McElhinney played 31 regular season games, no playoff games. Had an 11-10-3 record with an 8.99 save percentage and a 3.2 goals against. Even he was a backup. And Dan Ellis, 24 games for him, 23 in the regular season, 1 in the playoffs. An 8-9-1 record with a 9.15 save percentage and a 2.51 goals against. And the 1 playoff game, which was a loss, an 8.33 save percentage and a 5.86 goal against. Nothing special. So in total, we got 648 regular season games, 59 playoff games for 707 games played. Which, when you look at trade trees, generally the games played are fairly important. So that's what Anaheim got out of this deal eventually, with all the trade tree and that. What did Calgary get? That's right, 0 games. They got absolutely nothing out of this. If they'd kept their second round pick, they would have got 400 odd games out of him if he stuck around for his entire career there. Still would have lost the deal. Wouldn't have been as much of a fleecing, but still enough, because you still got a Conn Smythe winner and a Stanley Cup winner on the other side. But yeah, it was a complete fleecing. There's nothing else really more I can say about Calgary. If we want to know, there was that Mika Elomo. He played 2 games in the NHL before this deal for Washington. Got an assist. Spent a season or 2 in the AHL, and then played in Finland for a few seasons until retiring. Leventi Super, remember from earlier as well. I absolutely love the name. Never played in the NHL. Played a few seasons in the AHL. Then played in Italy, Germany, Austria. Then went back over to America and played in the CHL for a couple of seasons, or 2 seasons. Was a goaltender as well, if you didn't know. I didn't know that until I looked at his statistics. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Episode 2 will be a trade that took place a couple of weeks later between 2 Eastern Conference teams. So this will be another one that's a bad trade for one team. Please like and subscribe if you want to see some more content like this. We like to focus on some trade trees. What are the best and worst trades? We also like to review NHL drafts. We like to do redrafts and best players from drafts, so certain picks and that. Obviously, this is episode number 1. This is the first video. There's none of that there yet, but this is the kind of content we're going to be producing. So if you want to see more, please stick around. We'll see you on the next one.